Hello, Jim Dramatic here. Welcome to a very special episode of my show. This is a one-off. I might do more of these episodes in the future. But these are little one-off episodes tackling Robot Wars issues. And one issue that I have, it's something that I don't think people have ever noticed before apart from me. I'm sure there might be people in the comments going, I mentioned this, I know about this as well. But I am very curious about this because it's a passionate thing of mine. I like the subtle details of the show. I am very nitpicky. I love the very small aspects that a lot of people don't talk about. And Series 10 has got me thinking. Because Series 10 showed off a lot of good stuff that in the background that we never saw before. The team felt more real, a bit more banter. You saw things being fixed in real time. It felt like it was proper. And I want to go back to a series that I feel has been neglected a bit. Because while we're on the hype of Series 10, the specials haven't come out yet. We get to the return of Dietor and a Sergeant Bash lookalike. We get to delve into a series that, again, a lot of people are very harsh on, and that is Series 2. Now, before you click off, yes, I know, Series 2, yes, I'm talking about my favourite series in terms of nostalgia, not my favourite series overall. My favourite series overall is still Series 4. But in terms of nostalgia, Series 2 is a series I've adored, and this is something I've noticed even when I was younger. This is something that I'm not nitpicking because I'm looking back and going, okay, this is better. No, I legitimately found this when I was about five or six watching the show. I noticed these things, and that was the pictures of the competitors. You might be thinking, why am I making a video on this? Well, the reason why I'm making a video on this is because I want to give Series 2 a bit of love. It gets a lot of negativity because it's the gauntlet, the robot quality. It's all understandable, I agree. As terms of a proper series, it's right in the bottom. In terms of this particular aspect, in terms of the Robot Wars pictures, I think it's the best series ever in this one aspect. And I feel like that future Robot Wars series could, at a mentor, take a few words from Series 2. Now, let's look at the topic at hand. What do I mean by the Robot Wars pictures? I mean the pictures of the competitors. You know when they have their little banner underneath and it says you have Cassius and it has a little picture of the robot. That's what I'm talking about. When they came out of the little door and the picture appeared afterwards, which they used throughout the entire series for that robot. That is the picture I'm talking about. The official shot of the robot. And I felt like in Series 2 the pictures were a lot more dynamic. Dynamic is the keyword. I'm using that word a lot in this particular episode because dynamic is the keyword. Now, what do I mean by dynamic? Well, they have different poses, different angles, different shots, and I feel like this accentuates the robot's best qualities, but also makes the robot look better than it really should be, or even entitled to be. And I'll give you some examples of what I mean, and I'll be showing them throughout the video, of examples I think that exemplify and even show off that even good and bad robots, mostly bad, can actually have good pictures. The first robot I want to give you an example is Napalm. Napalm is a robot that you would never think would have a good picture, and honestly Napalm isn't a great robot. In Series 2 it looks nice for the time, but the picture of it is at a lower angle, it's taken slightly off the diagonals, it's facing to the right, and it just looks really good. It looks so dynamic, it's coming out at the screen at you, and the picture really accentuates the size of Napalm, and it really gets across that picture of it. It is a beautiful shot, and a lot of different under angles, over angles, diagonals are taken of these pictures, and it really makes the robot pop out. Technophobic is a good example. Technophobic is a really forgettable robot of Series 2. In Series 3 it looks better with the yellow paint scheme, but in Series 2 it looked pretty rubbish. It looked like Blob with a circular saw on it, and grey colour scheme with Technophobic written on it. That was pretty much Technophobic, but looking at that picture, it's taken shooting towards the left, it has the saw sticking out right, at an angle, so it's kind of coming out at the screen at you, and it's taken at a low angle, just like Napalm, so it really accentuates the robot's size and also makes it look big and imposing. It looks really good. Rox is a robot that looks good in this series. Rox fucking rocks! A robot that has the highest ground clearance of anything I've seen that isn't Groundhog, and a lifter that can barely lift 75 kilograms, yet, and it's off the ground, but yet, for some reason, Rox looks amazing. It looks less, okay, it still looks like Rox, I can't make the robot look better, but I mean, it makes the robot appear to look better. It's taken from a top shot with a diagonal coming towards you again, and again, it accentuates the size of the robot. I really like the kind of details of that. Havoc, Rottweiler, and Megahertz all have a thing in common. They face the same way as Napalm, and they have a similar feature as well to Napalm, is the fact that they're facing towards the right, diagonal, and shot downward. And it makes these two robots look really good. Havoc has the chain sticking out at you, and it really makes it look imposing. Rottweiler's spikes are sticking right at you. And Megahertz, while it doesn't look as imposing, still makes the robot look a lot more elegant and sublime than it would have done before. And again, the key word is dynamic. It's like the word of the day, it's dynamic. And I just like the look of these pictures a lot more. Now, one robot I absolutely think looks brilliant is Wheelosaurus. Wheelosaurus is a robot that, let's face it, is not that great, but it looks amazing in this particular pose because it's sticking right at you, and unlike the other ones, which are a diagonal that's still not facing you properly, but still is sort of, Wheelosaurus is almost coming directly at you. And it looks amazing. There's other robots that have similar poses. Death Trap's a good example, but Wheelosaurus is one that always looks amazing to me. And it's the way they shoot it, and the robots have so much personality in these particular poses. My favourite pose of Series 2, though, goes to Whirling Dervish. Wheelosaurus was my favourite, but then Whirling Dervish came along. And Whirling Dervish looks so cool, because it looks like it's in motion. The chains and the bars are sticking out really far away, and it looks like it's spinning. It looks so imposing and dynamic. It's amazing. You know, this is a robot with a bandsaw blade underneath. That's it's a reversed car tire, and it's not that great. It's not. I couldn't even tell what the front of the robot was, but it looks amazing in the way they posed it, and it's so beautiful. Now, to accentuate my point even further, I'm going to get one robot that appeared in Series 2 and looks very similar in Series 3 and see how they look. Because obviously, if two robots are different, it's unfair to compare them. Mortis versus Ton to Run, for example, they're going to be posed differently. But let's take King Buxton, my old friend Simon Harrison's robot. King Buxton in Series 2 isn't the most dynamic robot pose, but you can see there was some structure to the way they put it. They put it from a top shot, diagonal, facing downwards slides. It's like it's almost going down a hill. And it looks really good. It looks really cool, epic, and it looks like, it's like off-road vehicle type vibe to it. Series 3, it's just taken from the side, and it's like, oh, there's King Buxton, I guess. There's the robot. Nothing else. There's like no other exciting qualities about the picture. It is just that. And that's disappointing to me. That's really disappointing, because it just doesn't look good. It just looks boring. I mean, it shows the robot. I mean, that's what pretty much all the Series 3 and 4 poses did. They didn't show the robots terribly. They just showed the robot. And then going from Series 2, the dynamic poses are gone, the angles are gone. As far as I'm aware, I can't think of a single robot in Series 3 or 4 that had a really dynamic pose to their picture. It was just the robot clearly on some table or green screen behind them, and they just took the picture and photoshopped it. And that's it. It could be worse though, it could be Series 5, and you could be Shredder or Juggernaut 2, whose pictures look god-awful. I mean, I'll touch on this when I get to the heat of Shredder, but Jesus Christ, they cropped this robot to death, and it looks horrible. And Juggernaut 2 is taken on its side from the top. It looks wrong. And this is supposed to be a new series. This is supposed to be Series 5, the first of the sort of more modern series after Series 4. And this is the best they can do. Compared to the Series 2 stuff, this just feels kind of lazy in comparison. I'm not calling the people lazy, it just looks lazy. The worst examples for me that aren't butchered are probably Manta, Hypnodisc, and the Steel Avenger, who all look too dark. It looks like they didn't put enough lighting on these robots. As a result, they end up looking really awkward. And like they didn't get time to fully do these pictures, and they just look like shapes that are shrouded in, shadow, and that's it. And Manta's looks kind of intimidating because of the eyes, but the others don't look great at all. They're terrible pictures. And again, if in Series 2, or hell, if in Series 1 you could get the lighting perfectly, then why couldn't they get in Series 5? It just feels a bit lazy. Going to Series 6, the pictures look awful even more. I mean, at least in Series 5, most of the time you could see the robot. You see there's a little square of the stats board dedicated to the robot's picture, so you can at least see it and go, that's the robot there. In Series 6, they just went, you know what, just shove it at the back and make it all piss and yellow coloured. All the pictures look terrible. They're stuck at the back of the text. You can't see it properly. And I know you can be seeing the robot in battle in a second, but come on, guys, just have a good stat board. It just looks really bad. And I thought Series 5 was bad with some bad shots, but again, nothing as bad as Shredder, but it still comes across as lazy to me, and it's a shame. It's a real shame, really. But the modern series, the reboot series, is interesting because there are signs where I feel like they are trying with the pictures, and signs where they're not. Let's go to the bad examples first. Let's look at Crackers and Smashers shot in Series 9. Look at that. Look at it. It is Series 5 levels of dark shading and quality. It's at a bad angle. They're trying a dynamic angle, but the big problem with the dynamic angle is that it's clearly too far down. So one of the robots looks too small, one of the robots looks too big. It looks like looking off in the distance, like in some kind of sunset, and it just looks awful. And one from Series 10 is nuts too. Not saying the robot's terrible, not saying the team is terrible. The robot's well engineered, as we know, it's a semi-finalist. But my point in hand is the picture of the way and the way they presented it. Nuts 2 is just kind of, its chains are just sat in the front, just kind of like it's defeated. It looks like in a defeated pose. It doesn't look dynamic. It just looks kind of given, as I said, defeated. It just looks uneasy. It doesn't look good. It looks lazy. I've used that word a lot, but this kind of okay, not out lazy, I guess. More uninspired. That's a good word to use. I'll probably a better word. But it looks uninspired. Look at, again, compare it to Whirling Dervish, like I said. Whirling Dervishes was out there, it looked like it was in motion. They could have done that with Nuts too, but instead they just put it on the table and took a picture of it. And don't say it was a time factor, because yeah, okay, the series was very quickly filmed, but you had less robots in Series 10 and 8 and 9 as you did in Series 2. Series 2 had 72 robots. You had 30 in Series 10. So, I don't know, I just don't see the excuse there. There are a couple of robots in the modern series that got pictures, and both of them are in Series 10. One is Crackers and Smash's picture in Series 10, while they improved from their Series 9 picture. I love the back-to-back posing. It looks nice and dynamic again, like they're fighting off some kind of hordes of zombies or kind of a bar brawl or something. It looks really neat. And Hobgoblin, surprisingly, it's a side shot. I mean, yeah, robots like Thor had side shots, but what I like about it is the fact that it's off at a different angle, and you could have easily taken a front shot of it, like do a push to exit, Carbide. Many other robots have just front shots, and it's not that interesting to look at. Hobgoblin is interesting. It looks nice. I think it looks quite a nice pose on it. It's unique, to say the least. But they're not unique enough. You don't get many of these pictures in the modern series, and that's my problem. It's not a problem. I'm not sat here going, I'm not ranting here telling Mentorn telling them that they're lazy. I'm not saying that anyone's lazy. It just looks lazy in the earlier series. In the modern series, I don't have a problem with it that much either, because they learn from mistakes in the past. They have good pictures most of the time. The pictures are what you need to see. But to me, if you want to go that little bit of an extra mile, a little bit extra detail, make the poses a little more dynamic, I guess. Take a leaf from Series 2 and look at their way they did it, because Series 2 doesn't get enough love, and I feel like a lot of people disregard Series 2 as one of the worst, and I will admit it's not the best series. But it had a lot of personality, Series 2. I'm not saying the modern series doesn't have personality, it has its own unique charm. Series 9 didn't have much personality, but Series 8 and 10 definitely did. But my point being is that it's the small details that count, and I just thought it'd be nice to see something like that return. I don't want it to turn to Series 2 again, my god, no, but it's just a little detail I thought I'd notice. So, even if you don't agree with me or don't see where I'm coming from, it's a nice little discussion point, I guess. But this is a little quick video just to explain something I've thought about a while for that Series 2, and one thing I've wanted to give them a bit of credit for from back in 1998. So I'm Jim Dramatic, signing off.